Man, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. This is such a cool tool for our industry, and man, if just one or two of the things that we talk about today actually get implemented, and it'll change people's lives. It's really good stuff.
I appreciate that, and I know that you've been teaching this class for your agents in your town. So where are you actually located at, Doug?
Yeah, so I'm about 10 or 15 minutes east of St. Louis in Fairview Heights, Illinois.
Okay. Okay, awesome. So if you guys are anywhere close to there and Doug's doing a class, I would highly recommend that you look him up and attend one of these classes. Doug, I don't know if we've got this CE approved, but I'm actually going to check on that, and then maybe we can get this CE approved for our realtors in different states.
Yeah, that'd be absolutely wonderful, man. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So what you got for us, man?
Yeah, so basically where I got started with Evernote, or a little bit prior to Evernote, was I read this book by David Allen called Getting Things Done. And I'd been kind of on a mission to find a place where I could store everything, you know, like to-do list and what I've got going on for the week and all this different stuff. And so I read this book by David, and David talked about how much anxiety and pressure and stuff we go through because of the fact that we don't have a central collection point for data. And I was thinking, man, that's so true. And David says that we should never, if we have the right system in place, we should never have to think the same thought twice. Because if we have, again, a central collection point for data and one that we absolutely trust, we know we can set these benchmarks and we have these reminders and all these different things, so we don't have to continually be bothered with, man, what if I forget, or when am I supposed to call that person back, or all those good things. So shortly after that, I had heard about Evernote. And like a lot of other people, I gave it a shot and I tried it, but I kind of got lost in it because there's so much amazing stuff you can do with it. And that's when, you know, Scotty, you had a course a while back that was some basics on it, and I just fell in love and just took it from there. So welcome.
Cool.
Evernote is absolutely amazing. Scotty's actually going to talk throughout the presentation also about some of the other cool tools that work within Evernote, like Sketch. We'll talk a little bit about, if you guys don't have these things, make sure after the course that you download them, because they are absolutely awesome.
Absolutely, absolutely. Good stuff, man.
Yeah, so here's some of the things you can do with Evernote. Manage your buyers and sellers in one of the coolest ways you can possibly imagine. One of my favorites is never misplace a notebook. So many of us have got 1,000 sticky notes and notepads all over the place, which is great until you actually want to find what you're looking for.
Yes.
Business cards is one of my favorite things to do with Evernote. I used to have this big stack of business cards all over my desk, and now they're all organized, and I can search by what people do, and I can even send those out, so it's really awesome. I don't worry about keeping receipts anymore, whether it be business receipts or personal receipts. Everything's stored and encrypted within Evernote. And passwords, same thing. I don't have to worry about remembering all these billion different passwords we have for the 1,000 different systems we use. They're all in Evernote for me whenever I need them.
You know, the cool part about the receipts thing, and I read this, I don't know, it was a while ago, but on the receipts folder, if you have a notebook and then you have notes inside the notebook, your notes are your receipts, you can share that with your accountant. So you never, like, it's always like he has access to it, so he continually keeps updated. You know what I mean? Pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's awesome how simple it is and how great it works. So basically, Evernote, the simplest form that they want to get across to everybody is that you can write, collect, discuss, and present all within one place. And I don't know if I mentioned, Scotty, it's free.
I know, it's 100% free. That is so cool.
So when we talk about Evernote, basically you've got one place that shares across all your devices where you can write things, whether it be ideas, you can type notes, you can use voice memos. It's kind of limitless, all the different ways you can get things inside of Evernote. It's a great place to collect data, whether you're collecting, again, receipts, whether you're collecting recipes or photos. You can discuss things throughout your team. You know, we'll talk throughout the presentation about all the different ways you can share ideas. You can share folders, notebooks. It even has a really awesome chat feature where the people on your team or maybe the clients you're working with, you could be chatting within Evernote, whether it be on your phone or your desktop or wherever, and it just really works seamlessly. As far as presentations are concerned, a lot of people have wireless projectors these days. I just actually purchased one not long ago, And so rather than having to have, like when you do a PowerPoint presentation, a laptop hooked to your projector, I literally use Evernote within my phone. I download the PowerPoint presentation to Evernote. I sync that to my projector, and that way I'm not having to look at the screen. I can literally have the freedom to walk around the room and teach the class, and just using my iPhone as a reminder of the different slides. Again, you just
no, wait a minute, dude. No, wait a minute. This is way cool. So let me get this straight. You have a wireless projector, like that doesn't have any cords.
That's
and
right.
How does it sync? Bluetooth? Like what? You want to share what projector that is? Because here's what I'm thinking. So I walk into a listing, and if I could use this literally off my phone to project onto a wall, instead of them looking over my shoulder on a computer, they could be looking on a wall, and I could be showing why they should, show the flower pot strategy, or show like why they should use me and stuff like that.
Oh, Scott, I literally get chills, man, thinking about that idea for my agents.
That's freaky, man.
Man, when I've got an agent that walks into that listing appointment and they've already prepared a single property website, or they've already prepared these different things for that client, and you're right, you just pull out your iPhone and the projector, project it up on their wall, and rather than going in and talking to them about all the cool stuff that you might do for them if they hire you, you're showing them all the things you've already done for them. That's pretty amazing.
That's amazing, dude. That is so cool. I got to know what projector you're using on that, man. That's cool.
Yeah, I'll post it on the Agent Mastermind page whenever we
That's
wrap
a great
up.
idea. That's a great idea. Great idea.
Yeah, so just a couple definitions really quick with Evernote. Notes, it's basically any individual entry into Evernote. So a note can be anything from a website you clipped, or an audio, a recording, a picture of a client in front of their house, pretty much you name it. A notebook is exactly what you would think it is. It's a collection point for all of the notes. And within Evernote, you can create as many notebooks as you'd like, and we'll go over a little bit of that more later as well. A stack is kind of a family of notebooks. So you may have, kind of like you see in the example here, buyers, sellers, escrows. Maybe under buyer, you might have all the different documents that might be relevant to that transaction. But you can stack it and organize it to where, again, you're not just digging for stuff all the time. Literally from your phone, from a little search button, you can pull anything up. It's pretty darn awesome. So as far as sharing notes and notebooks, if you want to be the person that's sharing it, you actually have to have a paid version to share notebooks with other people. But don't be scared, because the cool thing is with Evernote, man, the best account they offer is like $45 a year. I mean, it's literally the
whole year. Yeah, 45 for the whole year, not per month. It's 45 for the whole year, and it's amazing. And there's a couple things, and you know what, I won't even jump ahead, but I don't want to forget. The other cool part about the paid version is you can actually have download. So it syncs with different notebooks where you can download them. You know what I mean? Like on your iPad, if you want to download, so in case you don't have internet to get on Evernote and pull something up, it actually downloads that folder and keeps it synced. Pretty cool.
Yeah, Scott, that's a brilliant point to bring up, because when you're on an airplane, flying for business or whatever, most of your stuff you're just stuck. You really can't do anything. Where with Evernote, for $4 or $5 a month, you've now got this thing where you can work, you can. It's just amazing what you can do. I mean, what else in the world can you do for $5 a month that's this productive?
Right.
So again, if if you work with a partner and only one of you is going to have the paid account, make sure the one that does most of the sharing is the one that has that account. Tags are another really neat idea. So pretty much anything that you want to do to help remember something whenever you're doing your search, because remember, you don't want to create this big notebook that's full of a ton of stuff that you can never find. So whenever you create a note, you also put a tag on there that's just a little reminder of what you want to search for. There's really no right or wrong way. That's one of the great things about Evernote is it is crazy flexible. It's amazing how you can build this thing out just to suit your needs, whatever they might be. So here's a few of the things that we're going to go through. We'll show you how to sign up. We'll show you how to create a note in a notebook, a few different things that you can do inside of a note, how you search for notes, and then we'll go over some of the notebooks. So this is what the front page looks like, and as you can see down at the bottom, just like we discussed, the premium account that they have is a whopping $50 a year. It does a whole lot of stuff for you. So when you go there at evernote.com, just click the sign in button. It'll ask you to create a trial account, and then it's going to ask you to create your first note. So whenever you do that, this is kind of what it looks like on your desktop. You can create the title for your note, and then whenever you're adding things into that note, like on here, you could literally drag from your hard drive on your computer, just click something and drag it right into the note. For instance, this PowerPoint, it was saved on my hard drive, and I dragged it right into Evernote so I could share it today. So it works out really, really well. So on the desktop version, one of the things that you might want to make sure you do in the very beginning is go into your tools and make sure you click your sync options. This is what is going to allow Evernote to sync across all of your devices. So, whether you have a computer at the office, you have another computer at home, you've got a laptop, an iPad, whatever, you want to make sure that it's set to sync very frequently.
One of the cool things I want to share, Doug, with you, so you shared this PowerPoint with me in Evernote, and you and I we chatted we had a conversation in Evernote, so everything that we did was in there. And the cool part is Doug made a couple updates to this PowerPoint because a couple things changed, and I didn't have to ask him for the new PowerPoint. It just automatically updates itself. So I go in, click the same exact button he originally sent me. So for example, say you have a presentation that you often use for a seller or a buyer that you use all the time, because we've talked about that before, and you want a new one created for each buyer so it's personalized to them. Your assistant could be doing this for you, and you get there, you click on the button, it's going to be correct for you when you get there. You don't have to worry about where's the link, I don't know where it's at, oh crap, send me this, send me that, because I kind of did that because I'm so used to doing that with Doug. I'm like, hey Doug, I don't see the new PowerPoint, and he's like, it's the same link, and I'm like, oh my god, that's right. We're in Evernote. So it's such a cool feature. Once you update something, it's correct for everybody on every device. It's really cool.
Yeah, Scotty, that's one of the things that I absolutely love is just the fact that I can get my team integrated into this, because it allows me to stick to doing stuff that I really love and enjoy doing. And like
Absolutely.
you said, they've got these PowerPoints worked up. They've got these things done for me. I didn't even have to touch it. It's shared in the drive, and it's there. It's really cool. So again, this is kind of what a note looks like, and you'll see just right to the right of where it says First Notebook, that's where it says New Tag. That's where you would create the tags to help you remember, what you're searching for. So again, in this, we just saw a note. Now we're actually looking at the notebook itself, and this notebook is called First Notebook. We could name it anything we want just by right-clicking on it. That little share button is how you would share this notebook. Let's say, for instance, you're a listing agent and you've got a buyer's agent, and you have this notebook that's for buyers. You could literally share that notebook, and then they can access it whenever they like. Again, you can chat back and forth, all kinds of cool stuff. The arrow going to the left just shows you how you create another new notebook, because, again, you can create multiple notebooks. So this, what you see right here, this is actually the app on your phone. So if you're taking a picture of a receipt or whatever you might be doing, all you do is click that button. Or if you wanted to type a note in, you could do that. Again, you see here you can set reminders. Inside of a lead here, or inside of a note here, if you notice at the top it says Note from 7105 South Lakes, it actually uses the GPS in your phone, and it will track where you're at. Yeah, it's nuts.
That's crazy.
To the left, you see leads. So if I'm taking a note and I want it to go into a certain specific notebook that I've already created, from my phone, all I do is touch that button that says leads, and then I choose from any one of the notebooks that's in Evernote. Then down at the bottom, you see I can take a picture, or I can use a little microphone and record a voice note. How cool it would be if, you're driving down the road, you really don't want to talk on the phone, you don't want to type on a to-do list, but you think of a really cool idea for one of your listings, or for a house for one of your buyers. You touch that microphone, record the voice message, then when you get time to park later, park it in whatever notebook you wanted to, and now you won't forget those ideas.
Right, absolutely.
So here's another example.
Sherry's asking, Can you make changes on your iPad? Like, say you open up your iPad, you open up Evernote, and you make changes in there. It syncs across everything, right? No matter where you're at, it's going to sync across all devices.
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't matter which device you're working from, desktop or, and again, it could be a desktop version, it could be the web-based version, your iPhone, your laptop, whatever.
So here's Android, PC. It doesn't matter like what you're on. It works the same on all devices.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. So this is another example of your desktop. Like if you were wanting to drag a file into a certain note, literally it's just like Outlook or anything else. You just click the little paper clip and drag it in. This was an example I did here. Like you can literally even create checklists. So if you've got a buyer transaction or even a listing transaction and you wanted to share that note with your client of a list of things that needed to be accomplished, you can literally create checklists. You can even put reminders on those things. I thought that was really awesome. We use that for our buyers here, actually.
Yeah, so what he's saying is, like, so you don't forget, like, if you can go back one slide there, Doug, so you can see, like, if you see the little clock at the very bottom, that little clock will allow you to send you, like, say that you want to give an update twice a week to your buyer or to your listing or whoever. It'll send you an email saying, hey, it's time to give an update on this or that or whatever you want to say in that update, but it'll remind you to do that inside Evernote so you won't forget it.
So here's another example of something like a grocery list. Remember, it's a shared folder. So if I'm cooking dinner one night and like the bonehead I am, I forget half the ingredients. My wife has to run to the grocery store to go pick those things up so I can finish what I'm doing. I've literally got the grocery list inside of Evernote. I could literally type that thing up while she's in the car driving there, and when she gets to the grocery store, bam, there's the list. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. Way cool.
Here's just an example for you guys of some of the stacks that you can do with the notebooks. You see like under expenses, there's business expense, personal expense, or under forms, you've got all your different types of forms. So just another example of how you can personalize Evernote to make it look pretty much, however you like it. Because how Scotty might like it and how I might like it might be two different things. So just make it your own.
Right on. Great point.
Yeah, so we've already talked about creating notebooks. Renaming notebooks is as simple as right-clicking. Sharing notebooks, again, right-click, and then it just lets you choose, however you would like to share it. Whether you want to do it by email, you can share notes to Facebook, or you can actually get a public URL. So rather than maybe somebody's not real techie and you're having a hard time explaining to them how to get to Evernote and how to sign in and all that good stuff, you could share a document by a public URL that when they click on it, it'll automatically take them to Evernote and walk them through the process. Like Google Drive, but better. Reason we like that is that on Google Drive, they've got kind of their own proprietary spreadsheet and system where this will actually work with Excel, which is really cool.
Hey, one thing too I want to make sure of, and I think I'm 99% sure. So say I have a seller who I want to share a notebook with, they can still, without a paid account, even without an account period, they can still see what I have put in there. They just can't make changes to it, right?
Yeah, they can't share back unless they also have...
They can't share back, right. They can't share. But they can see anything I share with them. They can open it up and see it, and so that's no big deal.
Correct. Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So this right here is just an example of all the different ways you can get stuff into Evernote. That's one of my favorite things is because you're not limited by technology. I mean, there's, whether you're just using the tools that Evernote gives you, or if you go a little bit further and get like a web clipper, or again, Sketch or Penultimate, which is one of my favorite apps that I think I'll ever be able to show you guys. There's just a ton of different ways you can get it in there.
So what's Penultimate? Are you going to show that?
Yeah, we're going to show that in just a little bit. You guys are going to absolutely love it.
Cool.
So another really cool thing about Evernote is that you get your own unique email address. So the reason for that is you can literally email things directly into Evernote from anywhere. So even if you're someplace where you don't have an Evernote account, as long as you've got your Evernote email, you can just email it in. And to give you an example, sometimes that kind of stuff, we've got enough stuff to remember already. If you just go to Tools and your account information, that's where you'll find your unique email address. And then This is a really great point here. If you literally just go into your contacts, say you've got Gmail, just go in there and put yourself in as a contact and save that Evernote email address in there. That way you don't have to remember it, because God knows I'd never remember that thing.
Never remember that thing. So what you would do is instead of type the email, you would just put in Evernote and it would automatically fill in the email.
Absolutely.
Yep, works great.
So, again, this part here, you can see where, it just tells you can email stuff into Evernote if you'd like. And Scotty, I have not used this feature quite as much. Isn't there something you can do in a subject line for it to go into a particular note? Do you recall that?
Well, yeah, and I don't remember that part, but there's a couple things that there's a couple, and I don't have them right off the top of my tongue, but there's a couple apps that actually work inside Gmail and Outlook that allow you to literally click a button and save it into your Evernote, so you don't have to remember the email or make it right. And I don't remember what that is. I used to have that, and I don't use it as much anymore either. But there's an app that allows you, and I'll find out what that is. I'll post that on the group page. But yeah, you can actually email directly into a folder, and there's a certain way that you have to do it. I just don't know which way that is right now. So yeah.
Wonderful. So Web Clipper, this is another really neat thing. It is a separate
I love this.
document or a separate app that you have to download to use. But let's say, for instance, you are online looking for different things for a buyer for a new house they just bought. Maybe it's decorations, that kind of stuff. You could go to these web pages and just click a button on here's how. I'm sorry, let me back up. Here's how you actually get Web Clipper. You just go to the website and download it into your computer. And then once you've done that, if you look at the upper right hand up there where the arrow is, so you could be checking something out online and you're wanting to save that, you just click on the little Evernote deal up there, and then you choose the folder you want it to go into, and you can choose either to do the whole page or just a piece of the page or just an article from the page. But just by clicking a button, it automatically saves it in your Evernote in the notebook that you chose. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it actually saves the link too as well, so you can go back to it. Because you know how many times we talk about, oh my God, I can't remember the link. What was that link? What was that link in that article and stuff? So it'll put it right in there for you.
Yeah. So here's another example of a notebook like recipes, and this was actually done through Web Clipper. Where you can literally pull that off the screen, and again, you've got a really cool recipe you want to share with somebody. You just click that button, share notebook, and then you get to choose how you're going to share it. But again, in seconds, literally, they've got access to that. It just saves a lot of time. Again, on here, it gives you the option, do you want to share it with an individual or do you want to create a public link? Another option is you can send that by email, which is really, really cool. If you decided you wanted to share the URL like we talked a few minutes ago, this is kind of how that shows up on your desktop, and then you get the URL, you just share that, and it gives them direct access to whatever you put in the notebook. There's an example of how to do it by email. And so on here, this is pretty much what they see whenever it gets shared. So whenever they receive it on the other end, they just click the Open Shared Notebook button, and then they get whatever it was you sent them. So again, you can use that for buyers or sellers or however you want.
There's some smart people on this call, man. So somebody has asked a question that I would have never thought of. It said, Petra, I hope I'm saying this right. I think it's Petra Thomas. They're saying, is there a Web Clipper app for the phone as well? And I just, while you were talking there, I Googled that, and it says the new Evernote for iOS 8 web clipping, quick notes, and more. So it says every significant iOS update opens a new possibility for Evernote clipping from the web and apps. So there is, I just don't know how to use it. So that's pretty cool, man. So you know how many times we're on our phone and we find something and we're like, we're at that event together, and I'm like, here's the website, and I'm like, okay, I want to save this website, but how do I do it? Well, I usually copy the link and then email it to myself. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of stupid, but that's how I know how to do it. But now that I know there's a clipping app for the phone, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'll make sure, and I'll have to add that to this presentation. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you.
You want to go over Stitch really quick?
Yeah, Stitch. So just out of memory, let me just go back. Let me see where you're at here. So Stitch, I've only used Stitch a little bit, but I believe it's isn't it for drawing and different things that you can do inside your notebook? Honestly, I've only used it a couple times.
Oh, that's all right, man. Yeah, so basically Sketch, the kind of the neat thing about that is, again, imagine from your iPhone or your iPad, you're looking at different articles, or another example would be, maybe you're looking at, you've got an MLS sheet, and I think we've got an example in here of that.
Yeah, you can draw on the pictures, right? There you go.
You can literally draw on the pictures. If there are certain things that you wanted to point out to, here you go. If you wanted to point out to your prospective buyer, you can draw on there from your iPad. And again, it allows you to save it right into Evernote. So, for instance, you've got that notebook that you've created for your buyer, and there are some houses that you're going to consider showing them. You might start saving these clips into Evernote with any notes that you might have just to point out certain things. So it's just a really cool way to, again, accentuate things that you're trying to show your prospective buyers. So this
and personalize. It allows you to personalize stuff, so it's just not like it's something different than they're going to see. I mean, drawing a little circle around it, and it's pretty cool to say, hey, we should probably check into this to make sure it's okay. Hey, you asked me about this, check this out, and you circle it and point to it and stuff like that. It just makes it more personal.
Yeah, and one of the things that I believe for whether it be for agents or lenders or really anybody that's in an industry of helping people, just try to be a little bit different than everybody else. And when you start thinking about Sketch and Evernote and some of these really neat ideas, how many of your competitors are actually doing these things? So even if one of these ideas, it could really...
Whoops, did I lose you? Did we lose you, brother? Hey, Rachel, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay, we lost him. Okay. His phone still says it's there. Doug, you there, buddy? Doug, you there? Doug. Can you guys hear Doug still? Can you hear Doug, Rachel?
No, I can't hear him.
Okay. Doug, you there? He's still going. He doesn't know that we can't hear him. Let me text him and tell him. Doug, you there, buddy?
I am. Can I help you?
Imagine if at the beginning of each showing, when you've got that buyer with 25 different homes they want to look at, if you just took a picture of them in front of the house and then added that into the same folder or the same note where you have the MLS. And from there, I guess you kind of get the point there.
I love it. That was good.
So, again, you just kind of snap the picture. You make sure it goes into the same notebook in front of each one. You can take pictures of items that are actually included with the house to jog their memories. You can...
So what Doug is saying, hey Doug, when he comes back I'm going to tell him maybe to dial in, but what Doug's saying is you can put pictures into it. Hey Doug, yeah. We keep losing you a little bit there. You keep breaking up a little bit. We lost you for a little bit there, but I think what you're saying here is so inside your notebook with a buyer or seller, you can take pictures of the different photos and put them inside. So one way to do this, and I think what you were saying is when you go with a buyer to look at a home, you can start with the address of the home, and then put different pictures from the home that they like. Say, hey, what do you guys like about it? I'll keep notes for you in Evernote, and then share the folder with you. And then at the end of the day, you look at all these different addresses with pictures and what they like, and they kind of instead of have to remember it all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's absolutely exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, just imagine emailing that folder to them, that notebook to them at the end of the day, and then they remember all that stuff, and they don't have to jog their memories. And again, to me, the coolest thing about a lot of this stuff, nobody else is doing it. And if you're the one, that's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and the cool part about that is, Doug, and I know you said this, but you were breaking up. So you can upload pictures. You can actually record conversations. You can do anything you want inside of a note, which then you can share with or notebook, whichever you want to do. But for each buyer, have a note inside a notebook, and then share. Maybe you just record, hey, the buyer really liked the master bath with the master bedroom. Love the view from the bedroom out to the backyard. Kind of keep like mental notes, but you actually record them in the note, and then send that note to them, and they're like, oh my God, that's so cool. We actually said that, so they can kind of remember. But not only that, you're going deep with them. You're making a deeper relationship with them, which is really cool.
Yeah, and I think you're taking that extra step. You're really showing them how much you care. And keep in mind that there's two different types of buyers. Some are perfectly okay when you stand in.
Hey, Doug. Doug, you still there, buddy? Hey, Rachel, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm gonna have him call in.
Yeah.
Another. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the technical difficulty. He's still going. Let me see. Let me just text him and tell him 1 sec here. Lost you.
We're going through the house because that emotion does matter, and
hey,
just gives you a lot better.
Hey, Dougie.
Yeah.
Hey, Dougie, we're losing you for like a minute, like a whole minute. Is there any way you could call in, or is that? I don't know why we keep losing you, but we can't. Like we see the screen moving, but we can't hear you anymore.
Yeah. Let me call in from my other phone. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. Okay, buddy. No worries at all. So, guys, here's the thing that I want to share with you guys about Evernote. It is a change. So, like somebody says, how am I supposed to learn all this stuff? Well, you have to first start with, okay, accepting that you're going to use this in your business, and then while you use it, it's going to be a little difficult at first, but it's going to just like when you first got your first iPhone, it's going to be, it's going to be, oh my God, this is so weird. I can do all this stuff, and it's like I don't get it, and people get frustrated. But man, I'm telling you, once you get used to it, it's kind of like it's so addicting because it's all in one place. No matter what you grab, your computer, no matter if you grab your laptop, no matter if you grab your iPhone, your iPad, even if you go somewhere where you don't have the a computer, and you can grab somebody else's computer and actually use their computer to log into Evernote to get whatever you need. It's always in the cloud and always on your devices. So it's really cool in that respect. But what I ask is give it some time. Maybe just use it for notes. Like instead of clicking the note button on your phone that says notes, I'm going to give you an app right now that's really cool. It's called because I was like, okay, I got to click Evernote button, and then I got to click notes or text or whatever. There's another app that's really cool. It's called Fast Ever. So it's called Fast Ever, and what it does is it allows you to open it up just like your notes thing, take a note and save it, and it puts it right into your Evernote for you, so you don't have to ever lose one. So it's pretty cool. So maybe just start with that in itself, and go from there. It makes it really cool. So Dougie, you back, brother?
I'm back. Can you hear me?
Sweet. Yes, sir. I was just sharing with them, and you probably missed it, but I don't know if I ever told you about this. There's this app called Fast Ever, and it allows you to take notes without clicking into Evernote and then clicking text. It just allows you to go right to notes. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is really good stuff. Yeah, sorry about that, guys.
Yeah.
VoIP phones are like the greatest thing in the world when they.
I know. That's right.
So hey, this is probably one of my favorite apps ever. Kind of like I mentioned in the very beginning of the conversation, I always struggled with having different notebooks all over the place, and I've always been a note taker, a list maker. But when you can't find that to-do list, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good. So basically, Pen Ultimate is an app for your tablet that syncs with Evernote. So you can keep all your notes in one place. I use it, for example, to plan my days every day, my weeks, my months, keep notes on clients. For me, a lot of times when I do a pre-qualification, it might be sometimes 60 or 90 days before they find a house. So what I'll do is I'll keep all the notes from our conversation about their family, their kids, inside Pen Ultimate. That way, whenever we connect again, I've still got all that information. Again, it syncs with Evernote. You can use it for goals, for affirmations, and once again, it's literally free, except for the fancy little pen that I suggest you use with it. You can use those those cheap little stylus things you can get at the store with a little rubber thing on the end. I don't really advise it because when you try to write on that tablet, your hand gets on there and it makes lines because of your hand. This thing here is called a Jot Script, and this is the first version of it. But it actually has what they call, I think, palm rejection, where as you're writing, it will only sense what you're writing from the tip of the pen and not from your hand. It's really cool. There's a second version.
That is way cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this one here, the first one, you can get on Amazon for, like you see here, for like 45 bucks. I do advise if you get one, for some reason they haven't put it on here, but a little clip so you can stick it to your iPad case. You can go and get like a cheap number 2 pencil at Office Max, and then just pull that little metal clip off the end, and it'll snap right on here.
Cool.
Yeah.
So have you tried?
kind of
Have you tried one of those yet?
What, the clip?
Yeah. The actual pin for your iPad.
Oh yeah, man, I love it. I started out with this one here that I'm showing you guys, and then I
Okay.
actually ended up buying the new one just because it's just a little bit smaller. But I mean, it's
Okay.
literally just like writing on paper. It's amazing.
No kidding. So you just everything you do right in Evernote, you just keep notes right in there, and you just like instead of writing, you know what, dude, I love that. Okay, thank you for that.
Yeah. So here's an
Because
example of what
like,
the app.
yeah, I mean, the thing with sorry to interrupt you, brother, but the thing with paper
No,
is you write it on paper. If I leave it on my desk and go home, I don't have my note anymore. You know what I mean? Like, okay, and so what I do every once in a while is I'll take a picture of my note so I have it, but I take the picture in Evernote. So instead of do that, just take the note in Evernote. You know what I mean? Kind of stupid.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely brilliant,
Yeah.
and that's what I love about this
Yeah.
thing. So this is kind of an example of what the app looks like, and so you see 6 of these notebooks at a time, but this is unlimited, and again, these sync with the notebooks that are in Evernote. So just imagine how organized you can keep all this stuff. And I mean, if you had your business, and maybe you have a notebook because you coach the kids at soccer, and maybe you've got 2 or 3 hobbies and you've got different notebooks for those. And imagine how those things would stack up as opposed to all being right there inside of your tablet. So this right
Awesome.
here is kind of an example of what it looks like when you write. Now, when you see the kind of blue box, the very bottom is where you're writing, and where that blue box is where it's writing it on your tablet. Obviously, I don't have the world's best penmanship here. But literally, when you look at the upper side of this, I mean, that's what my sloppy handwriting looks like in a notepad. So that, to me,
cool.
Yeah, that's just absolutely amazing. So if you look at the bottom, you see that there's the little play button and the little return arrow. What that's for is Evernote's got a really cool feature. I'm sorry, Pen Ultimate has a really cool feature built into it, where as you're writing, before you start writing, you press that play button, and as you're writing, that box moves across the page automatically for you. When you get to the end of the line, you just hit return, and it takes you to the next line. So you don't even have to move that box around. I mean, it's really, really neat.
So let me get this straight. So go back one. So does it convert it from the really big to the really small? Like, so you write so you write on the bottom, and then it puts it in a line above on an actual line?
Correct. Isn't
Dude,
crazy?
That's awesome. Because dude, my handwriting sucks, and it would be like I would take up one whole page with like one sentence,
Yeah, and that was the problem,
cool.
man, with the other handwriting apps that I've seen, is that you would write on there, and it was just like, really kind of jagged, and I just didn't like it at all. And so this one, you get to write all big, and then it makes it smaller. So again, just think of like when you're in the field, if you've got an assistant and you're out working with a client, and there are certain things that maybe need to be done to a listing to get it prepared, or something like that, you could be taking these notes, and then when it syncs to your Evernote, all you do is click the share button. You could share that with your assistant, or you could share that with your buyer's agent, and not have to carry around a piece of paper with you, or give them a piece of paper, or risk losing that to-do list. So, yeah, this right here has awesome. Changed my life. And every now and then when you leave the iPad unattended, that kind of stuff shows up.
That's the best part right there, brother. That is the best part, man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so again, it syncs. Never forget minor details again. You can take notes on training or self-improvement or seminars that you go to, and again, not have to carry that notebook around with you. I've got this everywhere I go, so I can always refer back to it. So business cards, we kind of started to mention earlier, no need to carry those things around anymore. I don't have the stack of business cards on my desk. I just open Evernote, I take a picture of it, put it in a notebook, and then they're all searchable. You can literally take a picture of their card and hand it back to them, click a button, and it'll send them your contact information as well. And so literally from your phone, you just click the Photos button. Somehow, whenever you do that, Evernote knows it's a business card. And so when you look down at the bottom of that, I didn't type any of that information in. Evernote literally pulled that stuff from my business card for me. It's like magic. I don't even know how that works.
I have no idea how that's just, dude, it's almost like somebody sitting there taking the picture and typing it in. It's weird. It's freakish. It's freaky.
Yeah, I would agree. It's kind of freaky. So once you
totally
take that
freaky,
picture, you go into that thing, kind of like we talked about before, on your business cards, make sure that when you take the picture, you start adding tags. And some of the examples I would give you would be maybe for an electrician, or maybe you have somebody who's does small fix-it projects, a roofer, whatever. I always kind of pride myself, because I've been in the same area for a lot of years, on being kind of a walking yellow pages. So I always tell my clients, after the close and even during the process, if you need anything whatsoever, call me. And the cool thing is, when they do, I don't have to go searching through a stack of business cards, or even those fancy little business card holders that you got to thumb through. All I do is click search on Evernote, and I look for plumber or electrician or whatever, and it pops right up.
Beautiful, dude. That's a great. And also, you could have your tags. When you tag something, you could have the borrower's name, you could have the address. And tags are what allow you to, just to clarify, tags are allow you to search something and find it faster, correct? That would be the reason for a tag? Yeah.
Exactly. And here you see, on your Evernote app for your phone, in the upper right-hand corner where you see the little magnifying glass, that is how you would search for whatever it is you're looking for. Again, you can type in there, like a notebook. You can search by notebook, or you can search by note. Either way, once you start typing it in, it'll just pop up. Just like here, if you search for business cards, all of a sudden, boom, all the business cards start showing up. Again, you can always narrow that down to the certain tags that you put in as well. So as far as receipts, it's the same as business cards. It's just easy. You just click the little, picture icon on there, file it, whether it's under business receipts, whether it's personal receipts. Again, use tags. Is it a business lunch? Is it business expenses for listings that you had? Make sure you use all those tags. You can have a personal notebook for either one. And then, kind of like Scotty said earlier today, at the end of the year, whenever you do your taxes, you can always just share that folder with your CPA and not have to worry about the shoebox full of crazy receipts anymore.
The crazy part, and you told me this, when you do the business card thing, all you do is you click photos and you put the business card in the window, and you don't even have to do anything. It just automatically sees it, picks it up, and throws it into your Evernote, man. It's weird. You don't have to do anything. Oh,
that's an awesome point. Yeah, you don't even have to click a button for it to take a picture. It literally sizes the business card and just snaps it. So again, here's kind of an example of if you're doing receipts. You'd snap a picture of the receipt. You can see at the top the notebook I've got is under business expenses. If you wanted to move it to a different notebook, just like I said before, just tap that thing and choose another notebook. That little I button is how you would actually add the tags to it. So again,
love it.
And the other cool thing too, whenever you take those things, it gives you a note section. So whenever you take a picture of that receipt, you can even put in the notes down at the bottom what exactly it was for. And it'll actually pull up again by GPS and give the location of where you were when you did that.
It's so crazy, man.
Yeah, so again with Evernote, we've gone over a whole lot of stuff here, but just think about it. There's literally no limits to this thing of, receipts, photos, documents, stuff you can do, meetings that you can track by GPS. Literally track all the photos while you're on vacation because it uses the GPS where you're at. Use it with your kids' schedules, all the different things you can do in your personal life. Again, the thing that was so exciting to me about Evernote is it's that one place where it will record everything and keep it, there where you can search everything for business, for personal. I'm not going to 2 or 3 different things, because the more steps I have to take to implement a new strategy or idea, the less likely I am to actually do it. This stuff's all in one place.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, here's again a list of some of the different things you can use within Evernote. This is the biggest piece. You're never going to get the full effect unless you actually do it. Kind of like when we first began this conversation, I was one of the early adopters who went out and found Evernote, but there was so much stuff that you could do with it, I kind of got lost.
So what I would highly suggest for everyone here is just pick one of the ideas that you saw that you really, really liked, whether it's the receipts or the business cards, and just, kind of make a commitment to yourself that I'm going to take the next 30 days and I'm going to use Evernote for my business expenses no matter what, every time. And once you've perfected that, once it's become part of your life, then you choose the next thing and then the next thing. But just pick one or two things at a time to make sure that you become an expert at that and you're actually using it effectively, and keep adding to it. And next thing you know, I mean, again, the sky is the limit. This thing has literally changed my life, and I think it would yours too.
When I was while you were gone and I trying to log into the phone, I was telling people you got to give it a chance. It's just like everything else. Once you got your, when you got your first iPhone or first Droid that did all this stuff, you didn't like it. It's like, oh my God, for the average person that isn't a freak about new technology, you probably hated it. And so it just takes time to change your habits, and just give it a chance, because I think you'll see it. There's really nothing to buy. It's free unless you want to share stuff. And if it's $45 a year, so the worst case is it's 10 mochas. If you drink mocha every morning, it's 10 mochas. So hey, here's a good question. Do you need a lot? Here's a great question, dude. So Zena, I hope I said that right. Do you need space on your phone to have all this? Actually, you don't. No, it doesn't take up part. It's all on the web, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's all in the cloud. It's that crazy, weird, scary cloud thing.
Yeah. So to get a copy of this PowerPoint, get with your loan professional, and if you know Doug, of course, get with Doug. He's the master at Evernote. We can't share everything within an hour, so I'm sure he has more tricks up his sleeve. So I would absolutely, but get with the loan professional that sent you here to get a copy of this. They will have a copy of it for you and the PowerPoint. Is there memory max? Okay, great question. You want to cover that, or you want me to? I know there's on the free version there is a max per month. I've never hit it personally, and then with the paid version, it's actually 2 gig or something like that. I don't even know what the max is.
I've never hit it either.
Oh, no, never hit it.
Yeah, when you go to the first page of Evernote to sign up, it'll tell you on each one of those levels what your maximum amount of memory is. But I use it a lot, and I've never come close.
Right on. So let's see. Does Evernote automatically save to cloud? Automatically, yes. That's a yes. Is there a setup process? So when you first log in, it's going to do it. And what Doug showed in one of the slides, he said, change it to every 15 minutes. And what happens is it actually syncs to the cloud. And then when you open up the Evernote app on a different device, it'll sync automatically, and then it'll pull anything that you've done in the last however long into that device that you're looking at. So it just takes a couple seconds. No big deal there.
Yeah, just kind of a way to cheat on that too sometimes, rather than whenever you're doing these notes on your phone or whatever. Sometimes I'll do all the notes, and then when I get a chance to sit down, I'll go into my phone, I'll touch on that note, and then I'll organize it into whatever notebook I want to. You don't have to do it right then and there. You can always come back to that as well.
Very cool. Can you please review again how to rename or rearrange notebooks? So rename is just a right click on the notebook, and it says there's a rename button. Rearrange, I think that would just be, you got to answer for that one?
Yeah, probably. I think you're probably referring to whenever you're doing that notebook stack.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had to kind of toy with that a little bit. When you create additional notebooks, you can drag them into the place where you want them to be. And like when you drag one notebook onto another, it'll usually ask you if you want to create a notebook stack.
There you go. Is it possible to have a presentation available for review? Okay, so yeah, just get with your loan professional that sent you here. If you have a premium Evernote, it will add a contact to Gmail if you use Gmail. Didn't know that. Thank you, Casey. Casey Wells says if you have premium Evernote, it will add a contact to Gmail. If you use
I forgot to mention for you guys all as well, it also has a link whenever you add a business card. You can touch a button and it'll ask you if you want to link it to LinkedIn. And then you can touch a button that will share your contact information with the person that you just loaded their business card in. It's really cool.
Oh, crazy, man. That's just awesome. All right, brother, I think that is it, man. Thank you so much, dude. I'm definitely going to do the Penu, I can't even say it, Penultimate. Penultimate. There you go. Penultimate. So thank you for that. That's just brilliant. I don't know how you wouldn't use that. And dude, like all this, it's just, so yeah, give it a chance. Give it 30 days. If you hate it, delete it from your phone. I don't think you'll hate it. It's just change. It's just a different way of keeping stuff that keeps you organized, allows you to share with your borrowers and sellers and past clients and you can keep the note alive forever. It never expires unless you want it to. It never gets deleted unless you want it to. It's always there. Just a really, really, really cool, and they're always coming up with new updates to make this thing better and better and better. It's got audio recording. It's a couple of pictures. You can do checklists. Just all this stuff you covered today is just brilliant, man. So thank you so much for taking time on this, and appreciate everything you do for everybody that you come in contact with, man. You're an awesome dude.
Thank you guys so much. I hope you really enjoy it.
Yeah, thanks, man. So same time, same place next week on Agent Mastermind. Look forward to seeing you guys here. We'll get the invites out to you tomorrow afternoon or by Saturday at the latest. Get with the loan professional that sent you here. And the Facebook page we're talking about that we're going to post a couple things that is facebook.com/groups/Agent Mastermind. I appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you on the web. Thanks again, Doug. We'll talk to you soon, brother.